Hey, what's up, everyone? Ralph here. So the one thing I've noticed with a lot of young people that are graduating college and getting ready to enter the workforce, particularly like corporate America, is that a lot of them have this expectation of what corporate life was going to look like after they graduate, right? I think they have this idea that they're going to be able to work in this office. It's going to be a great experience. That it's going to be in this cool little office. Probably going to make a lot of money, and they get to climb that corporate ladder. And they have this expectation that where they think it's going to be a great experience, right? It's just going to be fun. They're going to probably find joy in it, and then when they eventually get into that, that in the workforce and get into corporate America, they find out that it's not everything that is cracked up to be, right? That it's a grind, right? That you really have to climb that corporate ladder to get to where you want to be, right? To make a lot of money. And they're finding that it's not what they thought it was going to be. So much so that they're getting to a point where they want to downgrade their jobs and probably make less money and deal with less stress instead of having to deal with corporate America. So in this video, I have one woman who's going to share her experience when it comes to how she feels about corporate America. So let's hear what she has to say, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Is anyone else experiencing this kind of like disconnect and just general disinterest in the job search? I just feel like I don't care anymore, and it's so bad, like, because I graduated in 2023, so I did work a little bit in my field. I did have a job in accounting for a little bit, but right now I'm still waiting tables. My parents are just really getting on me because they're like, Olivia, you need to act like you're unemployed, like you're getting comfortable with your job. And it's like, no, I'm not getting comfortable. Like, in fact, I want to get out of serving. Like, it's great for what it is, but it's ultimately not what I want to do, and I do want to get out. But this other life, this like 9-to-5 life, doesn't seem very attractive to me anymore. And I just feel really disillusioned with the whole corporate life because, for all the shit that you guys go through, at the very least, you could have job security, but you don't. Like, I'm really realizing that there's no such thing as job security.
And you know what? And that's the thing a lot of people really, especially young people, have to realize when it comes to this job. Like, maybe back in the days, your parents, your grandparents, they had the luxury of having that job where they could work 20, 30, 40 years. But in today's age, that just doesn't exist, right? You're lucky if you're working at a job 15, 20 years. Okay. So you got to get this mindset where you're when it comes to this whole job security, like, it doesn't exist when it comes to stuff. These companies are letting people go for whatever reason, whether they're struggling with their finances, a downturn in the economy. It's rapid. Like, people aren't staying in jobs for long, especially employees. Like, they're leaving their jobs. Like, they're going to find something else where they can make more money. So when it comes to this whole job security thing, like, you really have to have the mindset like, hey, you can be laid off anytime, and you have to get ready to look for another job. So hopefully you can hopefully the thing you want to do is like develop some skills where if you do get laid off, where you'll be picked up very quickly. Because a lot of people don't have skills where they get laid off and they can't find something. So it's important to make sure you have some skills where if you do get laid off, you can then take that skill somewhere else and continue to keep working. So the whole job security, people have to understand, like, there's just no job security, just doesn't exist, especially not nowadays.
People used to tell me, oh, get a government job. Y'all see what's happening with the federal jobs? Like, their whole department's being laid off out of nowhere, no notice, no nothing. You would think that with everything that y'all go through and how much time and energy you pour into these jobs, that they would treat you better, and they don't. I have to move back in with my parents, so it's just something I'm thinking about because I know they're going to be on my ass about the job search and things like that. And it's not even that I'm lazy, it's just that I don't want to fight for something I don't actually want. It just doesn't seem worth it. Not only do we not have the same level of job security that our parents and our grandparents had, but we also can't afford anything. Even if we do have these jobs, even if we do have this job security, a lot of people can't even afford to pay their rent. At least back then, you guys could pay your rent. You could pay your rent, you can buy your car, you could buy houses, you could afford to eat, you could afford to have fun. We don't have that same reality.
See, all right. All right. Okay. I understand things are much more expensive. Like, purchasing a house is a lot more expensive than it was back in the days, right? Things are much expensive, especially with inflation. Things are definitely more difficult. But I think a lot of people over exaggerate the amount of struggle there is when it comes to their situation. Like, I'm looking at her, right? She looks very well nourished. It's not like she's struggling for food. Hair is kept. She looks like she has a decent car, right? She looks like she's doing okay, right? I think what it is the, like she mentioned all that, not be able to, afford rent and all that stuff. And then she also mentions fun. I think for a lot of people, it's the fun part, right? They're on social media and they want to be able to travel. They want to be able to buy all these nice things, and they know that, and they're seeing that they can't do that. All right, that's the thing that's struggling. Like, they have this anxiety looking on social media, and like they want to have all this fun, this freedom, and they can't do that because it costs money, right? It costs money to travel. It costs money to do all this fun stuff, right? Because I'm pretty sure she could, if she wanted to, like I said, if you live within your means, right? You make sure that you're not spending more than you make. You don't have a whole bunch of credit card debt, a whole bunch of student loans, which I know that's a lot of issue for a lot of young people. But it's not like everybody's running rampant and they're homeless, right? People are able to keep up with these things, even though many people are living paycheck to paycheck. I just think if many people were obviously, more disciplined when it comes to their spending, you wouldn't struggle that much. But a lot of people have credit card debt, student loans, so of course I know that hurts. But for her, I think for a lot of these young people, it's the social media. They see this life that they see that their friends, celebrities are living, and they can't do that. And then they say, "Oh my God, I can't do this. It's not fair because everything is expensive. I can't pay my rent, I can't buy the food." When in reality, it just they have anxiety just not being able to live that life that they see on social media. So I think that's where it's coming from. And then they use this whole you can't buy a house, you can't buy this, you can't buy that. I don't think it's that bad. Yes, buying a house is more expensive, but I don't think that's the issue for a lot of people. And she'll continue. So let's hear what else you got to say.
The way prices have gone up in comparison to the way wages and salaries have stayed stagnant is insane, and nobody's talking about it. We don't have the same reality that our parents and grandparents did, and they don't want to acknowledge that. What we're fighting for.
I mean, who cares if they not acknowledge it or not? Like, okay, let's say they do acknowledge it. Then what? What changes? Like, you still got to go out there and get what you need to get. Like, okay, let's say you life is a little bit more difficult than it was for your parents, and you want them to acknowledge. Like, who cares? Like, regardless if they acknowledge it or not, it's up to you to figure it out. Right? Like, I wouldn't care if you don't acknowledge that things are much more difficult than it is today than it was before. Like, who cares? What does that make you feel better? It doesn't solve your problems. If you can't afford things, that means you need to make more money. That's the issue. That's the thing. You need to make more money, and you're not going to be making more money doing whatever you're doing. Like being a waitress, you're going to have to either start your own business where you can control your income, or you're going to have to go into corporate America and climb the ladder and build off that. So you have to pick and choose. Life is about trade-offs. What do you want to do? Right? That's your choice. Having your parents acknowledge all this stuff, it doesn't really solve your problem. So you got to figure it out.
It's not the same thing that you guys were experiencing. So it's like, I'm fighting so hard to get some 9-to-5 that's going to pay me barely enough to rent a room in a house, and live in fear every day of being laid off on a random Tuesday. And then in the midst of that, I don't even know if I can put food on the table, or if I can put food on the table, I don't know if I can put gas in my car. And if I can put gas in my car, I don't know if I can have fun, because I need to put food on the table and gas in my car. Our money is not going as far as it used to go. And I feel like we're getting gaslit about that. Like, home prices, tuition prices, like the way everything has gone up and they're paying us the same amount of money is insane. So excuse me if I have no interest in fighting for my life in corporate America. I'm sorry.
Like, nobody's asking you to fight for your life in corporate America. You don't want to work in corporate America, that's fine. That's your choice. And like, no one's asking you to do that, right? But stop acting like you got like 5 kids that you can't feed. Like, I don't think she has any kids. So it's just her. And like you said, she moved in with her parents. So putting food on the table is not a problem for her. Okay. And you're single, so it shouldn't be that hard to find food for yourself and put gas in your car. Like, I understand things are a little tough and things are more expensive, but these are bare minimums that you should be able to do. Okay, especially if you have a decent job. But like you said, I'm not sure. She probably left corporate America, became a waitress. So yeah, you're probably not making as much money as you would if you worked in corporate America to get all these things that you need. I think what it is social media, and she's like a lot of young people, they have anxiety of not being able to live the life that they see that's shown on social media, and it frustrates them. Okay, it frustrates them. So it's just like, man, I see people traveling. I want to travel. I don't want to work in corporate America because I want to travel. I want to experience life. I want to do the things that I want to do. And look, if you want to do those things, it costs money. All right. If you don't have the money, you got to get a job. You don't got. If you're doing waitress jobs and it's not providing you that life, then you're gonna have to get a corporate job and make money, or you might have to start a business. You're gonna have to do something, right? Life is about trade-offs, and things cost money. And if you want to do it, you want to have fun and experience life, then you got to find a way to make some more money, and it is a grind. And you either could work for someone, or you could work for yourself, right? Pick a lane. Right? You have to decide. So those are my thoughts. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so, then make sure to subscribe. Right, so guys, take care and have a good one. Later.